The tropics remain very busy as Hurricane Fiona is making landfall in eastern Canada and Nova Scotia, as well as Tropical Storm Ian forming in the Caribbean, which will have major implications on the southeastern United States as we head into next week, and also some cooler temperatures dropping south from Canada into the eastern United States. What you guys need to know about that and much more in this video. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to another Saturday edition here of Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. If you guys are new to the channel or have yet to subscribe, definitely hit that subscribe button and the notification bell down below to get all of my daily important weather forecast updates here on this channel. So looking here at the tropics, very busy across the Atlantic and the Caribbean here. We got Hurricane Fiona, actually a post-tropical system all the way up into portions there of Nova Scotia and eastern Canada. We're creating a lot of havoc up there. We also have Tropical Storm Ian forming in the central Caribbean. That will be pushing to the west-northwest toward Cuba and eventually toward the mainland United States as we head into next week. We also have Tropical Storm Gaston across the northeastern Atlantic and Tropical Storm Hermine just off the west coast there of Africa, along with another 20% chance of development of another system across the southern Atlantic. So very much so an active go of it across the tropics. The two systems we're going to be watching is Fiona and Ian here on this video to kind of get you a little more aware of these kind of systems moving through these areas. So looking first at Fiona, this is still a hurricane this morning, maximum sustained winds of 100 miles per hour. It is, moving northward very quickly at 40 miles per hour. So with it moving northward that quickly and kind of moving away from the waters and over land, it's going to be also weakening very quickly as well. We still have hurricane warnings across portions there of eastern Canada and Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island. We also have tropical storm warnings across most of eastern Canada there as well. Even some tropical storm watches up there into portions of eastern Quebec as we head here through the weekend. So as we move through these areas here, as it kind of moves over land, it's going to start to weaken. You can definitely see that here on the intensity guidance for Hurricane Fiona, dropping back to a category 1 through the day today, and then back to a post-tropical storm and kind of post-tropical depression thereafter within the next 48 to 60 hours as we get towards Sunday into really early next week on your Monday, but still going to be bringing lots of impacts. We still have that onshore flow across portions of eastern Canada, bringing that storm surge. A lot of wave heights approaching 30-35 feet across eastern Nova Scotia, getting in there toward eastern Canada. So a lot of havoc there, a lot of power outages resulting from this. Very strong wind gusts here with this still. Like I said, 100-mile-per-hour wind gusts can definitely do lots of damage. But as we get into late this weekend here on your Sunday and into early next week, we'll start to calm down the storm surge a little bit. We'll start to calm down that onshore flow. So a little bit of the flooding impacts will start to lessen as we get towards late this weekend here. Kind of every hour that moves by, the storm will start to weaken a little bit more as we head through the weekend. So hopefully we can kind of recover from the storm across eastern Canada as we head into early next week. But again, our next focus is on Tropical Storm Ian forming in the central and eastern Caribbean here as we speak, and this is going to be the next big story over the next several days. You can see a kind of in close view of this zoomed in. You can see a lot of kind of tropical development with lots of tropical convection thunderstorm activity with this. You can see these whites and pinks here. That is some thunderstorm tops, overshooting tops here with these updrafts over 50,000 feet. So definitely some pretty robust thunderstorm development, and that will aid in a pretty formidable tropical storm as we head through this weekend and into early next week. This looks to become a hurricane very quickly as we get towards Sunday night and Monday morning, and potentially even a major hurricane by the time it moves into the eastern Gulf of Mexico toward the Florida Keys and western Florida Panhandle here as we move in towards the middle of next week. So let's kind of look here at the model intensity guidance to kind of get more information on how strong this system will get. It looks like a lot of the models have this trending very quickly to a category 1, then a category 2, and a lot of the models now starting to hint at a major hurricane, a category 3 hurricane, and yet maybe even a category 4 with a couple of these models still not out of the realm of a possibility with this system. So let's track this using the European forecast model here, high resolution, a 1005 millibar low as we head into this afternoon, just to the south and east of the Cayman Islands. But as it kind of moves closer to the Cayman Islands here in Jamaica, going to get a little bit stronger as we head into late this weekend on your Sunday afternoon, strengthening to a 1,004 millibar low, a formidable tropical storm at that point. But as we get here into early next week on your Monday, this really rapidly intensifies to a hurricane, probably a Category 1, if not a Category 2 hurricane with a 998 millibar low on your Monday afternoon. And looking at this here using the high resolution on the European model guidance, you can see the winds on the eastern side of the system. It's going to be eastern side loaded here with the winds. We could see winds already over 50 miles per hour as soon as Monday afternoon, if not even a little bit higher than that, towards hurricane force at times, getting towards portions of western Jamaica and south of the Cayman Islands as we move into early next week. But in comparison, the GFS is a little bit more robust and a little bit farther west over the open waters, the very warm waters here in the Western Caribbean, and it has a more closed system with a lot stronger winds here. With a more compact system, we have winds that could be over 80 miles per hour on the GFS model. So there still are differences on the intensity and a little bit of the track of this as it moves to the northwest, even into Monday. But looking here a little bit further back toward the European forecast model, it moves this over western Cuba as a 986 millibar low, which is a formidable hurricane at a Category 2 at that point, maybe even approaching Category 3 strength. And then the European forecast model brings this up towards southwestern Florida, potentially making landfall near the Fort Myers and Naples area as a 964 millibar low, which will place it around a Category 3 potentially as we get towards next Wednesday. And looking at the wind field with that, using the European, we would be seeing winds well over hurricane force, if not up to around 100 miles per hour with that. In comparison, the GFS has a little bit more residence time here, kind of scraping by western Cuba, and has a little more residence time over the warmer waters. So therefore, we'll start to see a more robust hurricane, and potentially this could be one of the solutions that could verify that, Category 4 strength if it remains over the open waters as we get towards the middle of next week. So there still is variables here with the track and intensity, so we'll get more information on that and pass that along as we get more information here on this channel. But looking at the waters here, the water temperatures in these red shaded colors really along the way just to the south here of the Cayman Islands and really much of the Cuba area and portions here of the Key West area of Florida. A lot of these water temperatures are 85 if not 90 degrees Fahrenheit, so these are very, very favorable for a strong hurricane across this area in the Caribbean and the Gulf. So that is definitely not off the table that a Category 4 hurricane does strengthen into that as we head towards next week. Looking here at some of the guidance for the tropical storm force winds, this is the probabilities here. It's pretty high across the western Key West area, getting up there toward the Naples, Fort Myers, and potentially as far north as Tampa Bay area. About a 50 to 60% chance, if not closing in on a 70% chance of tropical storm force winds at least as we head into the middle and early to middle portion of next week, especially across the western Cuba area. We have at least an 80% chance of tropical storm force winds, which will likely be hurricane force at that time as well. Another aspect of the storm we have to watch for is that onshore flow here, and the storm surge and flooding with this as well. With the European forecast model, the wave heights are up to around 15 feet here at the highest, just across western and southwestern Cuba. And as it kind of moves up there towards Cuba with the GFS here a little bit farther to the west, it has a little more robust system being over the waters more, and that means that your wave heights with this will be approaching 30 feet as we get into early next week. Now, looking as it moves closer to Florida here toward the west coast of Florida, the European model here has a lot of that onshore flow across portions of Key West, getting up towards Tampa, Fort Myers, and Naples there, with wave heights just off the coast there of Florida to the west around 20 feet. Now, in comparison, the GFS is a lot more aggressive with a stronger system over the water, and therefore the waves will be a lot stronger with the stronger winds, more that onshore flow. We could have waves approaching 35 feet, potentially 40 feet even, with the GFS model just to the west of Florida into the eastern Gulf of Mexico. So still a lot of impacts possible with this. And now looking at the kind of early estimates again of the rainfall totals with this, the European forecast model brings in about 6 to 12 inches, if not up to 14 14 inches of rain locally across portions of west central and central Florida toward Orlando there as we get through much of next week. In comparison, the GFS, again, a little farther to the west, so brings a lot heavier of rainfall over the eastern Gulf of Mexico, but still much of the Florida peninsula getting anywhere from 4 to 7 inches of rain respectively. And then looking at the Canadian forecast model, it has a lot of the heavier rainfall also just off the coast there across the eastern Gulf of Mexico as well, with still about 4 to 7 inches along the western edges there of Florida. So I'm starting to lean a little bit more toward the GFS and the Canadian model, as there's two models over one. Still can't discount the European forecast model, but I'm really starting to kind of get a little bit more confidence that this is going to move over western Cuba and then across the eastern Gulf of Mexico and kind of move up and make landfall somewhere in western and northwestern Florida rather than central Florida at this time. So we'll continue to watch that as we head into next week. But looking at the mainland United States, Canada, and really North America as a whole, we actually do have a trough that's going to be digging down across the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley this weekend, bringing those cooler temperatures. You're probably already feeling those fall temperatures if you live in Wisconsin, Michigan, and much of the Ohio Valley here already here early this weekend. We got warmer than normal temperatures across the Pacific Northwest from British Columbia all the way south to Seattle there and into California here this afternoon. This trough will deepen as we head into Sunday afternoon, late this weekend. You can see these purple shaded areas starting to show up across the upper Great Lakes and southern Ontario. So if you live in the Toronto area, Detroit, back toward the Chicago lakefront, and all the way south toward the Tennessee Valley, yeah, we're going to be seeing cooler than normal temperatures as we head into Sunday as well, with a deepening trough. And then we have those warmer temperatures with that spike in the ridge all the way across portions of western Canada into British Columbia, Alberta, all the way south across much of the western United States and the Pacific Northwest. And even as we get into early next week, these purple shaded colors even deepen further with this trough further digging down south towards the Ohio Valley, towards the mid-Atlantic and Northeast here, with a lot cooler temperatures, with lots of fall-like temperatures into early next week. And look at this ridge spiking all the way up here almost to Alaska as we head into early next week. And again, another ridge or another trough rather here across the northeastern Pacific on the other side of that. So kind of a blocking pattern as we head into early next week across these areas. Looking at your temperatures this afternoon, yeah, you can definitely pick out here where your fall temperatures are across the upper Great Lakes here into northern Wisconsin, the Arrowhead of Minnesota, back into portions of Michigan and much of the interior New England. A lot of these temperatures will be in the 50s and 60s for highs. You can definitely see a lot where the heat is here. A lot of the heat down into Texas, Oklahoma, and the mid-south. Temperatures will be rising well into the 90s there as well. Looking ahead to your Sunday, again, that cooler temperatures will start to, move a little farther to the south, a lot more 60s and 70s all the way down toward the Tennessee Valley as we head into Sunday. Again, this will continue to migrate its way farther south as we head into Monday, September 26th, as we start early next week, with a lot more 50s and 60s getting all the way down towards northern Illinois, northern Indiana, and much of the New England region here, with even some lower 70s down towards the Ozarks here in Missouri as well. So definitely seeing a cool down across these areas. And look at some of these overnight lows as we get into Sunday night and especially into Monday night here. We could have our first frost very well, respectively, across portions of northern and northeastern Minnesota, the Northwoods of Wisconsin, and the upper Great Lakes. We could have our first frost of the season across these areas as we head into early next week. So definitely something to monitor if you still have the plants outside across these areas, to cover those up here. Otherwise, we might have some kind of, the fall foliage and some plant damage here from some of the frost potentially early next week. We'll keep tabs on that. But looking longer range, the Climate Prediction Center from September 29th through October 3rd, the first opening days here of October, above normal temperatures are favored across much of the western and northwestern United States, really west of the Mississippi River. To the east there of the Mississippi River, that trough will dominate across the east coast here with that storm moving in toward Florida. And again, we have a lot of below normal precipitation favored across the center of the country as we start the first couple of days there of October and end September, with a lot of below normal precipitation from Canada all the way south to the Mexico border. There could be see some above normal precipitation across the desert Southwest with some monsoonal flow at times as we get into that time frame. But again, above normal precipitation favored largely across Florida and the East Coast there with that tropical feature, which will become Hurricane Ian as we head into early next week. Looking farther out here, the first full week here of October, from October 1st through October 7th, that ridge will slowly meander from west to east across the contiguous United States and bring above normal temperatures across most of the United States as we open the first few days of October here, that first full week of October. And looking at that here a little bit more, you can see a deepening trough, very robust trough, will start to dig down across the northwestern United States just off the coast of the Pacific Northwest, and that ridge will start to spike its way all the way up into central Canada, sending temperatures even into portions of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, all the way northward here, well above normal, including the northern and northeastern United States as well. That's been cooler. We'll start to warm up into the first couple of days here of October, and that will continue largely for that first full week of October as well, as long as that trough is across the Pacific Northwest there and just south of the Aleutian Islands. We're going to see that blocking pattern take place with a little bit more ridging across the center of the country. And looking at that as well, with the ridging, again, you're not going to have a lot of opportunities for rainfall, so below normal precipitation is also favored during that October 1st through that October 7th timeframe. Just an exception to the Pacific Northwest with that trough moving in and a little bit of that monsoonal flow across portions of Utah, Arizona, and the western Rockies there. And again, above normal precipitation favored along the East Coast there, where that hurricane will be getting into the first couple of days there of October. And looking at the drought monitor here, the drought monitor was released on Thursday, September 22nd here, just a couple of days ago. And if we have a lot of below normal precipitation across the middle of the country, this could start to make this drought migrate a little bit farther to the east toward the Mississippi Valley more and start to fill in some more drought across Texas here, with more moderate and severe drought probably expanding as we head towards the middle of October. So that will be something to definitely keep an eye on. Well, thank you guys for watching my video. Hope everybody stays safe out there from eastern Canada to Florida to the Caribbean. Everybody please stay safe out there from all of the dangerous weather. Remember to like the video down below by giving it a thumbs up. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. And guys, subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn the notifications on by hitting that notification bell as well. Appreciate all the new subscribers out there. Thank you guys so much for helping to grow this channel. We're already over 1,000 subscribers. I couldn't thank you guys enough. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. Definitely means a lot to me in helping to grow this community and get valuable and accurate weather information here with all your weather coverage here on Weather on the Go. Have a great weekend, a great Saturday, everyone, and I'll see you all in the next video.